Hi, I'm Dave Irick, and I'd like you to join me out here on the rocks.
Woo! Working all week for a paycheck. By Friday, I'm ready to scream. I hate all this hustle and bustle, man. You know I really hate this scene. So I get off on the rocks. Yeah, yeah. Off on the rocks. Oh, baby, I get off on the rocks. Woo! Off on the rocks.
You're about to meet a group we like to call the Dirty 30. Because, well, there's 30, and in this sport, they love getting dirty. Today, we explore the Sledgehammer Trail in Johnson Valley, California, and get into the head of Tony Bling Bling Fiore. We'll even show you how to transform your next cookout into a banquet fit for a king. All this while we crawl up one of the most rugged, breathtaking trails in the West. Now, rough riding on these back roads wouldn't be complete without a trail boss, and ours is none other than Rick Russell, a four-wheeler legend for over 30 years. Welcome to On the Rocks TV, where today we are exploring an extreme trail in Johnson Valley.
We're standing at the mouth of Sledgehammer, a trail I ran in 1996 back in Johnson Valley, and now Sledgehammer is a lot different than it was then. Sledgehammer has been run by a lot of vehicles that have 40-inch tires, and they dig big holes and move a lot of rocks. There's some big diff hangers there and some off-camber stuff, and the rocks are going to slide when you get on them. I was running that with, I think, 35s back then, kind of a small tire anymore, especially up here. A small tire would be a 35. Tires have changed a lot. We may have to stack some rocks to get 35-inch tires over some of these rocks. So come along and join us.
I'm Doug LaCrosse. I'm from Fountain Valley, Orange County, driving the Green Sleeper. It's a Curry-built Jeep.
I'm Rick Clay from Highland, California, driving the 04 Yola Unlimited here.
I'm David Levine from Altaloma, California. I'm driving a 04 Jeep Unlimited LJ built by 4West.
And I'm Jason Bunch from Tri-County Gear. I live in Riverside, California, and I'm driving the red YJ on the hill.
Larry McRae, Banning, California, driving a 2003 Carnivore chassis.
John Bundret from All Pro Off-Road, Hemet, California, driving 1970 Toyota Land Cruiser.
Matt Perrin from Yucca Valley, California, driving the yellow 91 Wrangler back there.
Is that the one with all the dings in it?
No, those are beauty marks. Beauty marks.
Tony Fiore from Simi Valley, California, and I'm driving the black and blue FabTech Genrite Jeep.
You know, I've been off-roading since actually before I was old enough to drive. Both my sisters owned Jeeps, CJ5s. I did a lot of trail rides with them and really loved cruising around Big Bear and the local mountains and having fun off-road. My first new vehicle was a Toyota 4x4. And ever since then, I've always had a four-wheel drive vehicle of some sort in the stable, and I've just grown to love the sport and love the challenge, and been doing it since I was 16, old enough to drive on my own, and hopefully I'm going to hand it down to my kids. The Hammers are one of my favorite places to go locally because there's some 3.5 trails that are a little bit more moderate but still require a lot of ability. There are some 5+ trails out here, and the 5+ is what I like to go after. These trails out in the Hammers are very extreme. As you can see, you're definitely going to get beat up out there. I like as much challenge as I can possibly get, and I love to go out to Johnson Valley because you can definitely destroy your Jeep out there. These are vehicle-sized rocks we're trying to negotiate around that you're gonna start early morning and you're gonna end mid to late afternoon. It's just a slow-going trail because of the obstacles and the negotiating you gotta do.
And that's the way to go.
This was a trip where Rick got us together and just a bunch of us decided to go out and play on the Hammers trails. The beginning of the trail is very interesting. The beginning of most trails is typically not the most challenging part, but it's a good interlude to what you're going to expect on the trail, so you got an opportunity to bail out before you get in there and end up stuck. This is definitely a trail that you need to be prepared in many different aspects. Your vehicle has to be set up right. You have to have the right equipment on the vehicle. As you look here at the vehicles coming up through the trail, it's very interesting to see how people are set up and tire sizes and axles and lockers, and these are definitely trails where you want to take the advice of the trail boss, somebody who's run the trail like Rick, very experienced individual that obviously knows what's going on out there and what vehicles are capable or not, because as Rick will tell you, you don't want to end up stuck out there. You don't want to break, you don't want to be under-equipped. You need to have the minimum requirements for the trails. Usually the trail boss will set that up for you. He'll tell you minimum tire size, front lockers, rear lockers, winch required, what's required to make the trip happen so that everybody ends up getting through the trail successfully.
Coming up next.
It looked easy from the outside, but I was sweating bullets on the inside. There's a big hole over there on the right, and if I fell in that hole, you could lean against that wall.
Right here on The Rocks. Welcome back to On the Rocks TV with Tony Bling Bling Fiore and Rick Russell out on the Sledgehammer Trail in Johnson Valley, California.
Off-roading to me is about being together with a lot of good friends and a lot of good capable vehicles, having fun, getting away from the real world, being in the environment and seeing things that you typically wouldn't see, and having a lot of challenge involved. A real good friend of mine, Tony Pellegrino, was out there with us. Tony and I have been four-wheeling together for about 7 years now. We both started out with 35s on our vehicles for the most part, and it's just grown from there, and I'm on 39. He's gone up onto 40s. I have Nicky, who has been four-wheeling with me since he was old enough to hold his head up sturdy in the car seat, strapped into the back. One of the best things about these trails, though, for my son is we get out on him and he gets plenty of time and lots of opportunity to go hunt for rocks. And one of his best friends is Jordan, and that's Tony's son. The two of them get along like thieves out there. They would stack rocks if we gave them the opportunity to, but most of them would probably hit the vehicles instead of going under the vehicles. When I come home and the motorhome pulls up in front of the house, he runs for his pillow and stands at the doorway saying, "When are we leaving? Let's go." Where are we going? Doesn't even matter. Let's get out on the trail. Now he's moved all the way up into the front seat.
He loves going. Loves playing in the rocks.
Nick's been out on the trail with me since he was 2.5 years old.
I like four-wheeling because it's fun and I get to play on the rocks a lot, and it's fun to watch my dad climb the rocks. It feels like a roller coaster. Jordan's cool. We like Jeeps a lot.
He loves four-wheeling, getting them out of the city and exposing them to just the raw, natural trails, and the areas out there is just, it's priceless. He loves to run around. It's just a great environment for the kids. Of course, we brought Jason along to stack all our rocks for us, and that was a big plus. Love that, because then I can spend more time in the driver's seat and less time breaking my back.
Hey, Matt, my man, what's the problem here?
Rocks.
Rocks?
Rocks.
Rocks.
Getting stuck doesn't mean you get more camera time.
Well, you know,
Matt joined us off of the lake bed, I guess, the morning of this run, and that's how Matt ended up coming along on this trail. He was out there and he saw us and said, "Looks like a fun trail to go run. Can I go with you guys?" and jumped on with us. John's another guy that I just met out here that day on the trail for the first time. He has done a remarkable job putting in a Hemi V8. That is an FJ. It's an old Toyota Land Cruiser, and he has done an unbelievable job putting that thing together. But it was one of the best looking rigs I've seen in a long time out on the trail, and it was real obvious that it was pretty new. He's running 60s on it and 39-inch crawlers and a gorgeous Porsche red paint job. There wasn't a scratch on that vehicle until we were done that day.
Yeah, I've always been a Toyota guy. I own All Pro Off-Road in Hemet, California, and that's all we do is Toyota stuff. So you always see me in a Toyota.
You know, Larry's got an awesome rig. He is a pretty amazing guy. I really appreciated the way he spotted me, definitely paid attention to where he told me to go. He's an amazing driver with an amazing rig. I believe he's even involved in competition rock crawling. He impressed me out there.
I'm smart enough to know that what I lack in talent I have to make up for with equipment. I couldn't do it in those Jeeps.
Right. Every time somebody runs through here, they move the rocks around, and we'll see how the last vehicles do, because the rocks will be moved again.
You have a big sense of accomplishment when you've taken your vehicle that you've set up and designed, and you can't even imagine the obstacles it can overcome. You get out there, you climb them, you go over them. Matt had some struggles. He's got a pretty well-equipped vehicle, a little light on axles, I think, for the size obstacles that we were up against out there. If you're a little under-equipped, you're going to end up breaking things. He was equipped to fix it, and he was very capable to get himself back off the trail, which is what you got to be out there.
He broke his lock right in the front, and now he has no left drive on the left front, so we're going to plan to turn him around. Head down.
You guys lied to me. You said we were going to the sand hill.
Isn't this the shortcut?
No.
At first, Jason thought it was the right lock front end because they can be a little weak. We've come to find out later that afternoon down in camp that it was the front axle. It was quite an event to get that thing turned around and get him spun around and headed back down the trail to safety.
Well, we're trying to figure out a way through this obstacle. It has changed a whole bunch over the years. The original way through it got some big rocks in it. That doesn't look like something I want to get into with 35-inch tires. I'm going to run it over there on the left. I think I'm just going to put my left wheels kind of down in that rut right there. That'll tilt my Jeep over and try to keep it straight so that on the other side I'm on a V-notch.
This trail is pretty close to the lake bed down there, and these are relatively short trails. This is the original vehicle that he used when he filmed and mapped out the hammers on VHS about 22 years ago.
Maybe you can ride that fin right there and it'll just lean a little bit and then drive up over through this.
This is what you would call severely side-hilling the vehicle. Well, this is the sky cam view. No, just kidding. It looks like an overhead shot of Rick's vehicle, but it's because he's at about a 44-degree angle. It definitely gives you some pucker factor.
Hi! Keep it right. That's as far right as... Oh! What was that?
More right if you have it.
This was a great little area here. I think it definitely caught Rick a little off guard. You can't go any further over to the right because there's a huge boulder in the side of the mountain there. But if you slide about 6 inches to the left, you're going to end up falling over on your top into a hole about the size of a small moving van.
Holy sheet metal! Oh, man! I didn't see that hole! Whoa! That is a real hole.
I actually thought about driving down it, but unfortunately I was having a few minor mechanical problems. I opted out of it, but it looked like a fun little optional spot to bop down and cruise back up.
Coming up next.
There's a little rocky section we got to get through. We could even break something trying to get over some of the ledges up there.
Right here on the rocks. Welcome back to On the Rocks TV.
Well, we've made it to the mailbox on Sledgehammer. Well, the Sledgehammer is some trail nowadays. I mean, those rocks are incredibly large. Well, you can see for yourself as you watched us go through there. Well, now at the mailbox, we noticed that the book was missing, a sign-in book where you can sign your name and leave any broken parts next to the mailbox. We don't have any broken parts to leave. The only person that broke a lock right, and we got him turned around, sent him back down the hill. But now what we've got to do is we drive across this little sandy wash, and this kind of fools you. You think it's over, but it's not over. Not until you see the top of that sand hill. There's a little rocky section we got to get through, which has plenty of overhanging rocks that could scratch your paint, or we could even break something trying to get over some of the ledges up there. So we're going to get over that, and we'll probably climb the sand hill and go ahead and take that shortcut out of here, but not without at least putting a few tires on the last section. It's pretty rugged the whole way. There is no rest on it. See you at the top of the sand hill. I'm stuck. I'm stuck.
A lot of the equipment has become a lot more heavy duty to deal with the obstacles and the extreme trails. It's just a matter of the level you want to commit to at it and how hardcore you want to get into the sport. And I just love the sport.
Whoa!
I love the challenge.
We're rocking over toward the other side, and there's different color paints over there. It's not going to be yellow though.
This is an interesting little climb here. This is a slab that if you get it right, you're just going to walk right up it, and if you don't get it right, it's all about the line when you're climbing the obstacles out here. It looks like a lot of fun when we're out here on the trails, and I just got to touch on the serious side of this for one quick brief moment, because the danger level is pretty high. You don't want to be partying out on the trail. Mistakes get made out here and they can be fatal. Rollovers can happen. You can crush somebody. You can crush yourself. I've actually witnessed rollovers where people have passed away, been crushed by the vehicle as it's rolled over. I've watched people have fingers severed off their hands from not knowing the right procedures when they roll, and they put their hands out to stop a 4,500-pound vehicle, and your hand doesn't stand a chance of stopping that vehicle. So, you know, the one thing that I could hope to pass on to you is that you pay attention, you take this seriously, and you understand that there is an opportunity, like in any sport, for bodily damage and injury, and you just really need to pay attention and be tuned in. It's just not all fun and games. Here you're watching John creep up one here. He took kind of an optional line that's a little bit tougher there. Some of the vehicles just zip right up them, and some of the vehicles struggle with them a little bit. And it's not always the driver's ability or talent. It's all about the line and just where your vehicle ends up sliding off to.
Okay, Jason, show me how to do this. I was going to fall in that hole. I was afraid of that.
That's what you got to kind of do. If you're not getting traction here, you got to turn it right. Because now it's too steep. Not for me, but...
You've got Jason climbing this slab right here, and he just walked right up it like it was a paved road, and it wasn't even an obstacle.
Piece of cake, like you said.
And then you watch somebody like Rick come up it and struggles a little bit on it and ends up making it up it. You just never know.
When we come back, we'll find out what could possibly make Rick say this.
That looks great.
It's all melted inside there.
Right here on the Rocks.
Randy, it's dark, cold, and I'm hungry. What do you got for me?
Rick, I got the perfect thing. You know those donuts we had this morning?
Yes.
Kind of stale now? I want to resurrect them. Check out the coals in the fire. Those coals are perfect right now for our famous On the Rocks pineapple upside down cake. All I got to do is I take just a regular cake donut, I cut it in half, put a pineapple slice on one side. Of course, got to have a cherry in the middle, a dab of butter on it, and then we cover that with some brown sugar. Put the top on and roll it up. Once they're rolled up, I had one ready for you. We just put it in the fire, right in those nice, beautiful coals.
Now, how long does it take?
It only takes about 5 minutes or so. Turn them over so one side doesn't get all the heat. But this campfire, the way it is now, is just perfect. There's a lot of things we can do with this fire. We could bake some potatoes in this thing. We could roast some apples. I got tricks up my sleeve, Rick, that you have no idea.
Like put cinnamon and butter on apples and roast them in there?
Absolutely. We cut an apple in half, core it out, fill it with brown sugar, some butter, cinnamon, wrap it up in foil. Those take a little longer, but there's so much you can do with a fire like this. Making s'mores, marshmallows, weenies. All right, Rick, looks pretty good. Let's set this one off the side. Kind of open that up gingerly. It's going to be hot, be careful.
Yeah. And that butter's probably all melted in there.
That's the idea.
Now, can I eat this with my fingers or do I need a fork?
You got a plate there, let it cool down a little bit on the plate.
If I can get it out. Oh yeah, look at it. I can see it. I can see it. Oh yeah, look at that. Woo! That looks great.
It's all melted inside there.
Yeah, that looks good. Let's try this out here. And that was made with those day-old donuts, huh?
Yep.
That's great.
Freshen them right up for you.
Mmm. It doesn't taste day-old now. It's good.
And that's how you make on the rocks pineapple upside down cake. You're gonna love it.
That's for sure.
The two best parts of the day, I think for me, are the beginning of the day and the end of the day. The anticipation of what we're about to go through and the challenges ahead that we have no idea until we get to them. Because I can assure you they're not the same as they were the last time, even if you've been on that trail before, and you just don't know what you're gonna run up against. But the end of the day, after this entire mile is blurred by in only 5 short hours, you look back and that's probably the second most exciting part of the day, to just review what happened and have fun and think about the obstacles and boy, I should have done this and I should have done that, and yep, knew that guy was gonna break. Oh, that guy should have never broke, and just put it all together and replay it in your mind and watch the sunset and fire up the campfire and then sit there with Nick and just recap the day and have fun enjoying the great outdoors and these very unique trails and this open space and no street lights and no other cars, and watch the sunset and the stars light up the night. It's the best feeling you can have. Go extreme or go home.
Woo!